Hello, Soul Family. So I just tried doing an Instagram live and pressing record, and I actually channeled some really cool information. And turns out it was a practice session, and then I couldn't figure out how to share it. Like it just disappeared. So bear with me. I'm learning how to use this social media. I'm not the best with technology, so it's kind of a learning curve. Anyways, I guess if it's meant to share, it'll come through again. I'm just gonna leave it for now. But so what I do want to share today is I thought I'd make a little video on something kind of simple, but maybe you're new to communicating with spirit, or you're new to your soul senses awakening, to your clairs, not new or just remembering. So signs spirit is communicating with you. I love communicating with spirit. Spirit's always communicating with me. Now, do I always know what it's saying? No. I am still very much learning. And sometimes I will get like what feels like 90,000 messages in a day, and I'm just like, guys, speak English. Like, I have no clue what you're saying. Like, give it to me some other direct form for this thick skull to understand. But some simple things are, because even in there are lots of times where it's just like, it's just comforting, like getting these signs from spirit. It's comforting. It makes me know, like, remember, and just like validation, like, oh yeah, you are listening, you're there, thank you guys. So for starters, angel numbers and synchronicities. So this can look like, the 111s, 1111 make a wish, 911, I say 911 make a wish, because I'll tell you after. 444, 33, etc. 000, 999, 888, 7766, 1234, 1122, 1144. Even other ones, if there's just like a number that repeats itself, and even if it's like the most random number, like 5678, or like, I don't know, 1313 or something like that, right? If it's just like a random number that's not like super, super common, but you yourself keep acknowledging it and keep seeing it, if it's something that's grabbing your attention, or you think, oh, that's weird, it's a message for you. That is spirit directly communicating with you, trying to send you some sort of message that you are meant to hear in the moment or at the time. Now, 911, 911, that is one of the very first angel numbers I had ever received or acknowledged. I remember it was when I was like an angsty teen. So I was like 12 years old, 12, 11, and when I first started seeing it, and I would see it every single day, once or twice a day, consistently for like years. And it always wigged me out because, of course, 911, 911, it, in like the world we know, it is very alert, like it's like, destruction, or like, it's like, emergency, that's the word. It's like an emergency number, right? So it always freaked me out, and especially because at that time too, I was having some clairvoyance visuals, but I didn't understand it. I didn't know what I was seeing, so all I know is it just scared the living shit out of me. So I kind of dampened that using alcohol, and mostly alcohol, for like, the next, what do we want to say, 15 years of my life. But yeah, 911, 911 make a wish is something I've seen my entire life. And I believe that it is a very psychic number, a very yeah, it's like a very, hey, I don't know, a very psychic number. I don't know how else to describe it. When I got sober 3 years ago, I started seeing it consistently again, like ever since, every single day. Well, not every single day now, but you know, a lot when I need to see it now. But it is still one that is always there. And I just started saying, because people would always say 11/11 make a wish, so I started saying 9/11 make a wish because it made me feel a lot more comfortable. And it kind of took the fear out of it, and it was kind of fun because, you know, why get scared every time you see it, right? So make a wish, anything is possible. Anyways, back to other signs that spirit is communicating with you. Things like animals, especially ones that use like electromagnetic field, and what are other senses? Like sonic, you know what I'm trying to say, like bats. Anyways, animals that migrate, things like whales, dolphins, turtles, elk, deer, birds, lots of things that migrate use this electromagnetic force and frequencies, and that is how they know where to go and when to go, and like it's just very unique. It's one of their senses anyways, right? Like we have touch, taste, smell, etc. So animals that use electromagnetic forces, animals that have wings, butterflies, dragonflies, ladybugs, bumblebees. I love the energy of a bumblebee. Spirit is always communicating with us, and they can communicate through using those animals. Those are some of the most common ones because there's something about it being, it's easier for spirit to access and co-create with those animals that are already in tune with using frequency like that, right? So you may see the same white butterfly every single day. A loved one, someone who's passed away, might come visit you in the form of like a blue jay, right? And it'll be very specific. And then other times just when you need to receive a message, like, you know, like a porcupine crossed my path the other day. I have never seen a porcupine since living in BC. That's like over 10 years now. Math might be a little off. 10-ish years anyways. But I have never seen a porcupine and so I knew right away. I was like, this is a message for me. Thank you very much. Look up the meaning of porcupine. Thank you, spirit. Plus, it's really cool. I always say thank you when I see a animal because I know it's from spirit in some form or another, whether it's a message for me or just to bring pure joy. And instead of thinking, fucking deer, pests, right? Like, no. You are also nature. You're aligned with nature. You get to acknowledge nature and just have a little gratitude, right? Some other common ones are like elephants. Sorry, notification. There's elephants. There is, the predatory birds, eagles, hawk, condor, raven, even seagulls. Spiders, that's a very interesting one. Then we got the different spiders, the black widow, the I don't know, there's like brown recluses, but then there's just a regular brown house spider. But there is always sometimes the meaning isn't always the exact same for so one person receiving a black widow versus another person receiving a black widow might be like have a slightly different meaning. You also have to use your discernment and tune into your own inner voice with that. But generally, there are common themes amongst the individual creatures. Okay, so did I miss anything with that? I don't think so. Yeah, angels, guides, spirit guides, archangels, past loved ones. These are all beings, even the ancestors. Then there's just simply animal guides and earth guides, right? energies. All these different forms of spirit can communicate to us through animals. Next, lights flickering. That light's not flickering, but lights flickering is another big one. If you see for example, I'll just give you an example. My niece crossed over just over a year ago, and my sister calls and goes, "Oh my God, I swear it's Quinn. It's her." Like, because all the lights in her house started, like, they were all going, like, they never flickered before, but they were all flickering, and like in a very dramatic way, and like grabbing her attention consistently. And she knew, and I'm like, don't question it. It's spirit. And I've also had some very personal experiences with lights flickering, with electronics getting messed up. Yeah, lights flickering is a very specific one. But then also, spirit does like to play with electronics because they can. They're in that frequency. How can they get our attention, because we're often like not looking for it, or we dismiss it. You know, like your phone glitching or turning off. You're like you're on the phone with somebody and you keep trying to call that same person, but every time you call them, there's a weird interference, and you're like, what is happening? This is so weird. Guaranteed there's some form of energy blocking that connection or kind of messing around, right? Yeah, TV, radio turning on, TV turning on, even like battery powered electronics that would otherwise be just chilling, you know, you're dead asleep, and then all of a sudden it turns on in the middle of the night. That happened to me last night. Scared me and the cat. Yeah, didn't sleep much the rest of the night. Took a while to feel comfortable and fall back asleep. So I just never experienced something that intense, but yeah, it's okay. We got it figured out anyways, and everything's fine. But yeah, that's just to name a few, okay? Cell phones, yeah. Next, you may have ringing in the ears. Now, this is a really cool one. Lots of people, I know it's commonly, oh my God, my ears are ringing. And there's many people that panic about that. And it's called tinnitus, something like that, right? Tinnitus, whatever. Now, this can happen when your eardrum's damaged as well. Or like from other health conditions, but I fully believe in my soul there is a ringing in the ears, or a buzzing, or sometimes the noise will just like in one ear, or it'll get really quiet, and the hearing in one ear will quiet out, and that's spirit trying to get your attention, trying to communicate with you some form or another. You can always ask, hey, is this information, like, is this of the highest good, highest truth? Yes, no, yes, engage, no, okay, fuck off, thanks. But yeah, ringing in the ears is another one that spirit is trying to communicate with you. So do not be alarmed if you are someone who frequently has ringing in the ears. Personally, I've always had ringing in the ears. I never thought it to be a bad thing until I started working with where I work now, and just hearing people complain or get really scared or worried when they start having ringing in their ears. And as something I've always been very comfortable with, and knowing that it is not always a bad thing, that it's simply just spirit, or, you know, maybe you're not grounded enough, maybe too much coffee, but often there is other frequencies you're tuning into. It's nothing to be afraid of, but there are those who, if you haven't experienced much of it before, you might get freaked out the first time you hear it. or the first time your sound cuts in and out, you might think, whoa, am I going dizzy? No, it's just, hey, like, pay attention to this side, pay attention to this side, both sides, something's going on, right? Okay. Next, goosebumps. If you feel a breeze, sometimes you can be in a room where there's no windows, no air, nothing, and you feel a breeze. That is spirit. You will feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up, or you'll get like little goosebumps. Spirit, something is trying to communicate with you, right? Okay, next, music. Music, this also goes with synchronicities. Synchronicities, oh, by the way, not just numbers. Synchronicities can also take the form of like license plates. Lately, I've been getting messages in the form of certain letters on license plates, like repeating in themselves, like in like XXX or something, or it was N and N, things like that. And then it's Spirit's way of communicating with me, the runes. And then you look up the runes and it's like, oh, okay, interesting. So it can also be repeated letters, repeated words, repeated symbols, repeated shapes. There's this really awesome lady on Instagram. Her handle is Awakening Heather. She basically started out just following synchronicities like 1 year ago. She quit her job. She was like an emotional breakdown. Started following synchronicities, and her life transformed beyond what someone could typically like try and just muster with their pure self-will, right? So I definitely suggest going and looking at her page and looking at just for some inspirations, like, hey, you're not crazy. It gives you that validation and confirmation that spirit is real, they are communicating, and it almost just gives you kind of expansion. Okay, if it worked for her, you know, you don't have to necessarily fully dive in and trust yourself yet. You can see someone else doing it and how it's worked for them. Okay, I went sidetracked there. So back to, symbols and music. Oh my God. Like the perfect song will come on with the exact lyrics you need to hear at the exact moment. Or, you know, your loved one that just always listen to Elvis. Every store you go in, there's Elvis playing. It's a pretty self-explanatory one. And I guess last but not least, deja vu or dreams. Deja vu, where you're in the moment, like say I'm living right here. I'm like, oh my God, I have been here before. I vividly know in my heart and soul, and I remember with my mind and eyes this experience. And deja vu is one of the trippiest things. Sometimes it just comes deja vu. Sometimes you can remember having the dream. That was one of my, I guess, gifts that never did fully leave, even when I shut down all my clairsenses, was the visions and having dreams of a certain setting, situation, people, places, things, and then 3 to 6 months down the road, I was in that exact same place, position, thing, experience. So that is another way spirit communicates with us. Sometimes we have past loved ones visit us in dreams. They come to say hi. Sometimes it's our higher self, our guides, or an alert that hey, pay attention to yourself, something's wrong, like on the inside. Not like, oh my God, everything's gonna blow up, but it's like, no, like, usually when we have those scary kind of dreams, it's like, hey, pay attention to your feelings. They're trying to tell you something. Your body's trying to tell you something. So anyways, that is my little spiel and introduction on the many ways that spirit can be communicating with you. Let me know how spirit communicates with you. What like your maybe first experience was, your first sign, what's something you maybe want to work on. Like, do you want to work on developing your clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience? Do you maybe want to know what those are if you don't know what they are already? Yeah. Thank you guys, and love you, many blessings.